This content will be recorded and made available in an accessible alternative format upon request. If you require captioning, transcription, or other communication services to access this content, please contact the Disability Resource Center, DRC, at drc@snhu.edu or 866-305-9430. Okay, class, so this week we'll look at how to maximize our points in the Module 3 journal. So the first thing we need to do is look at the question, and it says in Module 7, you will submit a short paper in which you will describe your motivations for starting college. All writing assignments, including this journal, are assessed with a rubric, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to look at the rubric on the next page. But what we want to do is pay attention here in this section here. Alright, so it says to begin, open and read the short paper rubric, which we'll do on the next slide, which can be found in the assignment guidelines and rubric section of the course. Examine the structure of the rubric and locate the critical elements on the left side of the rubric. We'll talk about it shortly. The question states, what are the critical elements of the short paper rubric? After reviewing the critical elements, which critical element do you feel will give you the least trouble as you work on the assignment and why? Also, which critical element will be the most difficult for you to master? Basically, which one will be easier and which will be hardest? Please post a 2 to 3 paragraph journal submission answering the questions. All right, so the next page we see the rubric. All right, now he just talked about critical elements of the rubric. The critical elements are right over here. All right, so in your first paragraph, or however you want to word this, you simply state all 4 of the critical elements. Critical elements are this. Boom, 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 boom. And then the next thing you're going to do is explain which will be easiest and which will be hardest. So the next page, question breakdown. What are the critical elements? Just like I said, simply list the critical elements. The next thing, which element will be the hardest for you to write about? Simply go into detail regarding the element that will be hardest and explain why. If writing will be hardest for you, explain why. So you can say something like, I've always had difficulty with grammar and punctuation. This will be an area that I will struggle in on this paper. And you keep going into detail. The next thing, which will be the easiest to write about. The same thing you just did for the element that was the hardest, talk about the easiest. The easiest element for me to write about will be initial motivations, period. Then you'll go into detail on why your initial motivations will be easiest for you to write about. Detail, 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 explain why. Now, just a quick reminder, the journal entries are worth a little more than discussion boards, so I need you to be very detailed and thorough here. So don't give me just a little bit and expect a really good grade. You have to go into great detail by listing the critical elements, talking about which element will be hardest to write about and which element will be easiest to write about. I want to harp on that. We are not answering the questions for the Module 7 paper. We are answering questions about the short paper rubric. So if you follow these instructions in this little presentation verbatim, you should be perfectly fine. All right, please, as always, email me if you have any questions. My email is g.willis1@snhu.edu. All right, have a good day.